Welcome back to Website and TV. I'm Gemma Houghton. Today I'm joined by Jo Turnbull, otherwise known as SEO Jo Blogs, and the organiser of Search London, as well as working for Searchmetrics, so she's pretty busy. And she's here today to talk to us a little bit more about the SEO industry in general and how to make the most of online and offline opportunities for networking. So hi, Jo.
Hi, thank you very much for having me here today.
Thank you for being here. So, mentioned there that you run Search London, which is a kind of SEO meetup event, and obviously you're often attending different conferences through, yourself and with Searchmetrics now. Why do you think conferences are still a really big part, an important part of the search industry?
Well, I really think that, having these, I know we all work online, and we do obviously a lot of things from our computers, sometimes from our own, obviously personal offices, but I still think offline is important because it's just a way of meeting someone face to face. I think you can never take away that value of meeting that person. I think it really also adds like a differentiator for someone, because you might be following someone on Twitter, interacting with them and everything, but then when you see them, like at something like a lot of conferences like Brighton SEO or at maybe FMX, you can put a face to the Twitter profile or a face to the email. So I think it's really important to way of sort of building networks and building relationships, because you can sort of stand out, and instead of just we're all working on one level online, you can then rise above it, and then because you're meeting obviously offline.
Yeah, so it helps develop relationships that may start online, but I guess like personal relationships, any relationships, at some point you want to actually have that personal contact and face-to-face interaction.
Yeah, definitely. And I definitely don't think that would ever get taken away, despite the fact that more and more people are working online. It's still a very, very important factor.
And of course, the networking side of conferences is clearly really important. And for a lot of people, that is probably the actual primary reason they go. But also there's clearly value in the information there as well. It's not just about meeting people.
Yeah, I think that there's so many conferences out there, and maybe people that are thinking about getting into online marketing, they might be a little bit like, oh, well, maybe I'm a bit too old. I don't know about online. I've not worked there. I've done maybe traditional off. They're very low barriers to entry. You can basically go to a conference. There's quite a few for free. For example, Brighton SEO. If you're there on the minute pressing that button, you can get a free ticket, and you can find out a lot of stuff from the conference, a lot of key points and takeaways. I think people are very generous when they're at these conferences. They give away a lot. They're sharing a lot, and people can really learn from that, implement them straight away, and they can see the results. So I think I'm really, really happy that there's still so many conferences and events to go to.
So you definitely encourage people to be going along to them and making the most of the opportunities there.
Yeah, definitely. I think that you're never too old to learn about new things. If maybe you were in a different field before, I think it's perfectly acceptable, and it's great if you want to change into something else. I think going to conferences is a great way to, one, learn about what's happening in the industry, and two, meet people outside the networking part that you said. So like at like SMX, and there's always sort of drinks before and after, Brighton SEO as well. I run Search London. This is always in the evening. Yeah, networking events. And people are always very, very friendly. I know that when I entered the industry, I didn't know anyone. But whenever I talk to people, they're always very open, and you can see them again at a lot of the other conferences that you attend.
So what would you say? Because, there'll be a lot of people who think I would like to go along, but I wouldn't have anyone to go with, and I don't know anybody. Yeah. And it is a bit daunting to turn up on your own and just kind of make friends. So what tips could you give people for kind of getting in there, getting to chat to people, making the most of the events?
Yeah, no, I totally understand that. Like, I've been there myself. Like, I was also like freelance. And yes, it can be quite daunting because you're not coming with the company. So I've been to, maybe the Search Awards. I was by myself, but I was blogging for State Digital, so that was great. I sort of went on a table with them. I would suggest you connect with other people online, maybe Facebook or Twitter. You start interacting with them, and then you can meet up with them at these different conferences and events. Yeah,
so don't just go in cold and do a bit of research, see who's going to be there, and start to make friends.
Exactly. I mean, I think it's like any sort of new thing that you join. If you're joining, let's say, a rugby team, you would want to do a bit of research and see where's your rugby team. What do you maybe you have in common? Is it near you? Do you have anything in common with them?
Yeah.
Maybe see if those people are sort of doing other events in your area. So I definitely think it's worth to, still use online. Find those people that are coming, start some relationships, and who knows? Some of those people as well. They're new. They might have never come before. So.
Yeah, you could be helping them out as well.
Exactly.
And then, we're talking about the idea of using these events to build relationships. And how can you kind of take that beyond the conference as well? Once you meet people, once you've started that relationship, but then, you all go off back to your own offices, own countries maybe even, and you're not going to see them again. How do you keep that going and how do you help develop those?
Yeah, I think if you are in different countries, then sometimes it can be a bit more challenging, a bit more difficult. I would say just continue to sort of email them or share some of their content. I think, or their posts. I think, within the search industry, we are quite open. People do share other people's content. We are always very, happy for people when they like, yeah, I got this on, I don't know, the Moz blog, or I got my post on Huffington Post, first time ever. And say, oh yeah, well done. So I think, when you meet people at conferences, keep those relationships, still share their content, email them. Everyone knows when people's birthdays are, send them a birthday, birthday event. And, within, I would say London, within Europe, everything is quite easy to get to. So it's quite easy to pop over to the conference that was happening in Spain, SEO on the Beach, or there's obviously Oktoberfest, obviously in Germany. So there's lots of opportunities to catch up.
And then just following on from that point about kind of sharing content and kind of building things that way. Obviously, you want to share other people's content and you want to kind of be building out your own content to get people to share that. What are the best ways to go about, creating content that you think people will share?
For me, I think it's just for the past year, I've been quite, I haven't written lots of content, but there's one post that I did write and it was something very personal to me. And I think it touched on a lot of what people have gone through. It's basically sort of 5 reasons you're never too late to pursue your dreams. And I have it on the Huffington Post and I put it within sort of a Facebook group that we have and everyone's like, yeah, I feel that too. And they sort of shared that. So if it's relevant to other people and if they like it, then yes, I share it. I wouldn't share something I didn't agree with. So I would just say, be true to yourself. If there's something that you really like, write about it. But I am not a massive writer. Unfortunately, it doesn't come that easy for me. So, for me, it's sort of a one post in a few months type thing.
There's no kind of set rules about how you should do it. You need to just do what fits with you.
Yeah, what feels right for you. And, there's loads of people in the industry that work and that write some great posts. Barry Adams at Say Digital, Bas Vandenbelt, Sam Noble as well. They write really, really great content and it's stuff that's relevant for their industry. They're sharing tips about what's happened in their experience and everyone finds that relevant and then they share it.
And just last thing on the events again, there are so many, we talked about that. You mentioned a few across Europe. There's so many. There's some that are free. There's some that are paid for. There's a lot of different ones. What are your advice on how to decide which ones to go to, especially if you're new to the industry? How can you decide which is the right one for you?
Well, I think really it comes down to resource. So time and money, like what you have more of. Like when I was freelance, I went to quite a few events. I mean, that's when we met back. I think it was it 2012? September 2012 maybe? Back in New York. Yes, that's quite a long time ago now. 4 years. So it really comes down to time, resource. So time and money. So do you have enough time to go to the events? Yes. Do you have enough money? Okay, yes. Then you can maybe expand your circle. If you're in London, there's lots happening in London. I run Search London, and it's it's a tenner to go to. But some of our events are free and they're just in the evening. Obviously, there's things like SMX that are also there. Brighton SEO is obviously in Brighton. That's twice a year and that's free to go. If you want to expand a bit further, there's obviously events in Paris. There's SEO Camp and there's Germany's SEO Oktoberfest. And also there's, MozCon, PubCon. So it depends how much your budget is. But really, I would go with what you can afford in terms of time and financial really.
Yeah, because traveling to a different country can take, a week of your time just to attend a 2-day conference. So
yes, you've been to quite a few of the ones that where I was reading. So yes, you know that. So
yeah, but it is equally interesting to try not always go to the same ones as well, because you do meet different people, you do hear different speakers, different focus on the topics, which sometimes, the best will in the world, some conferences you can get similar kinds of content each time just because that's what's relevant to that audience. But actually for you to develop, you maybe need to look a bit out of that, and also maybe slightly more, industry specific events and that kind of stuff too.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think it depends where you are. I mean, if you're in Europe, I would definitely recommend some London conferences. Obviously, also SaaSCon is really big in Manchester. I'd also recommend events in New York. I would love to go to PubCon and MozCon, but it was just a bit too expensive when I was freelance in terms of time away from your desk and financial for the airfare. So it depends what works for you, but
whatever your kind of budget or timescale is, there's something that you can attend for sure.
And I think, conference is only going to grow. So if you can't maybe make it this year, I'm sure you can, put it in your agenda for next year.
Great. Well, thank you for talking to us.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Hopefully everyone will look out for you at the next conference they go to.
Yes. And everyone can also sign up to Search London, the meetup group in London. I know it's in London, but it was just near where I am. So set up there.
Great. Well, thanks for talking to us again,
No,
Jen.
thank you very much.